adjust back into society like we would think they do
Right.
as a civilian. Because you don't get the same person that left. That person doesn't come home.
Mm.
So I think for me, I had to decide whether or not I liked the new person and whether or not I was going to continue a relationship with that new person.
Mm.
So they look the same physically, but mentally they don't come home the same. And for me, I think there's as much problem on my side because I did grow up, I think, in a very traditional male upbringing, Midwestern upbringing. So I certainly have, I guess, notions of what a man's role should be in a woman's, and those did conflict immediately. You know, they conflicted as soon as she left, actually, because whether a man wants to real or admit it or not, he has to deal with the fact that he's not the person going to war. It's his wife or spouse, significant other, whatever. But I got to fill a role now that's more child-oriented and dinner, and at the time we were taking care of some of her family as well, so I got to pay attention to them and paying bills. So you immediately step into that role that every woman has for any man who's went off to war. So, but that was new to me. I wasn't prepared for it. It really, and my own insecurity about it should have been me who went and not Mandy. So there's that you got to deal with. And I really don't think the VA, any family outreach, any counseling since has been prepared for the male that stayed home, because everything's geared toward the wife, everything. So the first counseling that we actually took together, they had no idea how to deal with me. Because we did split up for about 6 months.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Mandy came home, and of course she had her ideas of what things should be like after living a year and a half in the desert and
Being in charge.
yeah, and I'm not the kind of person that's going to idly stand by and put up with being ordered around. It just won't happen with me. And we butted heads immediately. I think our first phone conversation before she got home, I had to tell her that,
Listen here, Sergeant Martin.
yeah, you can
When
take
you get
the
home,
rank off.
I remember that very, very well. He said, listen here, Sergeant Martin. When you get home, you ain't in charge of shit. That's what he said. I remember that very well. I tell that a lot, actually.
And there's probably a couple of reasons for that, I believe, and one of them being those roles that I grew up believing, and the other is I need to regain some masculinity of staying home and doing a good job at taking care of the kids, because in my world, I guess that's not always what a man's supposed to do. He goes to work, he mows lawns, he does that kind of thing.
Rebuild our kitchen.
And
Rebuild the kitchen,
Yeah.
yes.
not big on drying eyes and when somebody gets hurt and that kind of thing. That's mother's rule. And mom's off running around in the desert. And then on top of that, I've got to try and maintain a relationship, so I have to write letters and deal with phone calls. And on those phone calls, I do have to make sure she feels like everything at home is taken care of, that everybody's proud of her, the kids are fine, no matter what the situation actually may be at the time. So I wasn't too sure how to deal with that. And I actually, I don't know if I would say I forbid it, but I certainly tried. I certainly put up as many roadblocks as I could to make that not happen. So, and she wasn't going for none of it. So I think every man secretly wonders whether or not he'll be able to be in that situation and come through it without being a coward or whatever, label we put on somebody. And I believe every man feels that way. So I always expected to have to confront mine one day, but it never happened. And I get Mandy here, and I'm exposed to a whole other side of it. So and you know, it may be stupid way of thinking in the past. You know, again, I'm dealing with a woman veteran, and I don't have any of that in my past. None. I don't know those people, and I know there's been plenty, but I felt pride over what Mandy has done, and I don't know if she understands that because, as far as Mandy's concerned, she ordered parts for helicopters. But you know, I was in the military. I know everybody's a support role or plays some kind of support. I don't know. I'm proud of her. I'll say that I don't think. I think every day we will probably have to deal with something from that deployment for as long as we're together. I don't think that job will ever end. You know, it's shaped who she is now, and it's also, I think, shaped who the family is through that experience. So where we're at, I think it's always a work in progress, honestly. As long as I'm patient, it'll be fine, and as long as she is. You know, we're not the only couple that broke up and realized that was stupid. You know, let's try
Thank
that
God.
again.
Thank God.
So, you know, I used it to my advantage, and I got some new tools out of it.
You got an air
I
compressor.
wouldn't
Oh,
come,
sweet.
I wouldn't come back until she bought me some things.
I thought you were talking about
Prove
like
her
psychological tools or something like that.
No, for real. He got an air compressor and a table saw.
Nice work.
Didn't he get a water pressure wash? Yeah,
That
pressure
new
washer.
relationship thing, you know, you can work